Fire Signs, it's Amanda Beach with Cosmic Beach Consulting, and here is your Cosmic Surf Report for February 2018. Opening up February, we see a lot of that hard work energy generated during January kind of coming to fruition. Perhaps you're stepping into a part of your identity that you had kind of left to chance before, as opposed to kind of letting the road open for you. You've decided to go look for the road. And so the first part of this week sees you rising to some challenges, sees you becoming the master of your own process. And it also, puts a lot of that energy into that, like, that first house space where you're really looking at you as a person, you, what you have to offer, you, what you're bringing forward, what your work does, and how you can do your work smarter and harder. Because that's kind of a theme with Saturn in Capricorn, is not only are we going to have to work smarter, not harder, we're going to have to work harder and smarter, but that's okay because the harder you work with Saturn, the greater the rewards. So this really, let's take the beginning of this month and kind of push that through. There are no full moons in February. And this hasn't happened since 1999, so it's been a minute, almost 20 years. And so with this, we really get to focus on the waning and the waxing process of the moon cycle, as opposed to kind of having that big payoff that is the full moon that everybody kind of looks for the crazy energy. We can kind of take the energy of these two cycles of the moon and really focus on those instead. So in the beginning of the month, you're going to want to focus on the waning cycle, what you need to remove, what doesn't belong, what no longer is suiting you, who needs to go, whose calls you don't need to take, whose events you don't need to go to, what behavior no longer serves you, whether that is, that can be in your diet, if it's the new year still, we still have that, I'm going to take this, grains out of my life, I'm going to Whole30, paleo, whatever sort of thing you're looking to cut out to kind of remove. This energy is supportive of that. So if you were thinking about starting something where you're going to eliminate something as a step toward improvement, this is a great time to do that. We don't have a new moon until the 15th, and that new moon is in Aquarius. So we're also going to see a big move from what your work can do for you and what your work can do for other people. In the second week of February, I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are hearing about new jobs. Others of you might be looking at new sources of revenue or ways to better utilize your resources. That feels like a brand new plan. If you're like, Amanda, I seriously have $20 in my bank account and I hate my job. That's totally cool. I've totally been there. But this is a great energy for you to kind of look around and see what sort of, what you can start doing and behind the scenes to build some resources for yourself. And it's also a great week to stick up for yourself financially. So if you're someone who provides services and you've been giving away your time and you've been really generous because you're just so grateful to be able to do what you love, this might be the week where you start taking yourself financially seriously, where you say, I love my clients and I think that I'm worth it and I might have to raise my rates. Or I love my friends, but I think I'm worth it and I might have to, let them know that there needs to be an exchange. And this certainly does have to do with resources though. It's not just intellectual ideas. It's not just love. It also has to do with how you make your money, where your money comes from, what you're willing to ask of yourself, and the value you're seeing in yourself. And so this week talks about self-value. And that's your second week in February. Moving into the third week, maybe you're signing yourself up for a lot of things as far as development goes. Maybe you're looking at different ways that you can get different certifications to have your own passion project, side hustle, whatever you want to call it. Or maybe you're just putting in a lot of overtime at work because we are getting that winter slump. So maybe some people are on vacation. Maybe you have some coworkers who aren't necessarily picking up their end of the deal. But whatever you signed up for in the first 2 weeks of February, know that the third week is going to feel like there's a lot of things coming at you. There's a lot of irons in the fire, and that's okay. Understand that when there are little stressors that get in the way of you and your process, that's just one thing you have to add that helps you move on with that. When you look at something and you worked hard for it, it's oh, that's great. But if you look at something and you worked hard for it and you dealt with a lot of shit, that feels even better. So just know that if you're dealing with a lot of things coming at you, a lot of being delegated, a lot of tasks, being asked to do a lot of things, number one, those boundaries we worked on in the beginning of the month can come here and they can say no, I'm sorry, You guys never go to my things. I can't go to yours. I really need my Thursday night. I love you so much. Happy birthday to your niece, you know, but like being able to say no graciously is self-care for sure. So if you feel like there's a lot of things coming at you, look at your boundaries with other people, look at your boundaries with the work that you're taking on, and decide, you know, what best suits you. And remember that, like, you know, it's always darkest before dawn, and, you know, a little strife never hurt anybody. It's great for the process. It's great for the creative process. But that's okay, because we're building a whole foundation for this month. So as we get to we do have a full moon on March 1st. So we end February, right, with that ready to burst energy. And so our last week in February is kind of like seeing where things are falling. Like if we've put in our time and we've done our work and we've really moved forward and we're really working with, like, you know, we have direct planets. We have Mercury entering Pisces on the 18th. And so, you know, there's a lot of nice, positive, fluid, loving, empathetic energy out there. So if you've really put the work and the process in the beginning of the month, you're really going to start to see some payoff with that. Whether that's, you know, if you're literally showing up and doing the work at your office and you're not surrounded by people who are, you might see some people let go. If you have been willing away a position that no longer serves you and you do not enjoy, and you just haven't moved on yet because, you know, I mean, who doesn't like a paycheck? And like, you know, whatever keeps you there, whatever keeps you from taking that next step. Like the end of February is going to be that next step. I've told everyone this. I feel like front-loading your year is in your best interest. We hit like a series of retrogrades, which I don't feel are negative transits whatsoever. They just can make things different, and they can make things that aren't to be stagnant, and they can really ruin good ideas by just not like providing the energy that someone might need, like that extra push. So your extra push is in the beginning of this year. So, you know, like put in that hard work in February. Really make sure that you're meeting your deadlines. If your to-do list is exhausting, you know, you proof it. Like make sure, like, you know, if you're somebody who hates mornings, you're not going to get up an hour before you have to go somewhere to do this separate work. Like that might be a 6 o'clock work for you. What it looks like in an entrepreneur's like book doesn't have to be what it looks like in your life for you to feel like you're getting the work that you want done, completed. And that doesn't even have to be work that you're doing for finances. This is creative projects. And I know that work is the center of my spiel at this point for the month. You're like, it's February, it's Valentine's Day, where is the love? We'll get there. But the love is also self-love this month. Like, you're going to be your own Valentine. Let's focus on that. I love that. Actually, I love that message. You are your own Valentine. Congratulations. Your Valentine is amazing. So when it comes to love and communication, we do have Mercury moving into Pisces. So this energy comes right after Valentine's Day. So if somebody has an idea as to what Valentine's Day is supposed to look like, that expectation is not met, and that results in some sort of fallout. The 18th and after are some good makeup energy for sure. Or if you have someone who's circling the bull on the commitment and V-Day kind of scares them, this might be when they resurface a little bit more to be more emotionally available. It is a time to kind of forgive and forget and kind of get a perspective of from where everybody's coming from, which isn't like, as I'm an Aries moon, so empathy isn't always my first language, but this is a really empathetic time, and that can help you grow relationships in so many ways. So if you're looking for more understanding in your romantic relationship, this is a great time to have that conversation. But if you're somebody who works one-on-one with people, then this is also an excellent time to look at like new customers and business, because you can really connect with your clients during like, you know, like when Mercury's in Pisces, it's a very, very favorable. I mean, it is and it isn't, because it's not the most like communicate, like it doesn't like, you know, it doesn't communicate as harshly, but the vibe is better. So the vibe is very loving. The vibe is very empathetic. You know, it's very flowy, it's very water, it's very Pisces. I mean, the last thing a fish knows it is wet. So self-awareness might not be the order of the day, but empathy sure is. So there's a lot of great ways to take that transit and move forward, especially when it comes to soothing some broken hearts and mending some fences in romantic relationships. Overall, I think it's going to be a successful and productive month. And remember, those things that remove themselves from your life do so for a reason. whether that reason is to jumpstart you into a new career, or that reason is to make room for a new best friend who's really going to value your time, or a new lover who's really going to appreciate you for you, or just space for yourself to work on whatever it is that you're up to. So yeah, overall, fire signs, I'm super excited for you. If you want to purchase any of my services, please check out cosmicbeachconsulting.com. I'm available for readings in the greater Chicagoland area and within the city of Chicago. And I will be doing a pop-up in Andersonville on February 8th. So check out my webpage or my Facebook for upcoming events and pop-ups that might be near you. So yeah, have a great February, and I'll see you guys in March.